We streaming there. We streaming on Anchor. Allow.
There it goes.
How'd you see it?
What's up, Anchor? This your voice, man, Joe Commando in the building. In case you recording, you hear me. All right, here we go.
I seen
So
on
we go,
YouTube.
you guys. We are clicking.
So show me how to put it on Facebook.
We got plenty of time. We played the whole commercial before we start. So
Okay.
it takes a little second.
We are live. Good up, everybody. Check out this good old commercial right here. Now, this is our
That's legendary.
Yeah. Y'all actually won an award, the Boss Mag 2009 Ohio Hip Hop Award. Y'all won for that media outlet thing.
Man, I don't even know. Yeah.
Like y'all won. He didn't even know he won.
What'd you say? Who was it?
You won the Boss Magazine 2009 Ohio Hip Hop Award. Congratulations.
That's legendary.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy Peanut, aka Dash Resource. I'm here with my man Stack Smith.
What's up, though? This your boy Smith, Joe Commando in the building, checking in one time for your mind, two times for the grind. Legendary People Podcast. We want to start this thing off with saluting our sponsors, which is Agnes All Natural Grill. Go down there and get you some good old jerk chicken.
Absolutely.
Not jerk, but jerk chicken, right?
Mhm.
Some jerk chicken bowls and cocoa bread and so on and so forth. And don't forget about the brown sugar lemonade. And also, Sheets for breakfast. They got the best breakfast in the city.
Absolutely.
Bacon and French toast, as you all probably well know by now. And if you ever get injured for any reason at all, go straight to the hospital and call my brother, Attorney Michael Wright at 937-222-7477. And last but not least, our newest sponsor is Kiara Wine.
It's amazing too.
Kiara Wine, and they are in some stores now, so you want to contact my bro Big Antoine Cunningham for how to get that Kiara Wine. Kiara Wine, yes sir. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Ring the bell notification right now and comment below. Comment any thoughts and opinions that you have about this interview, so YouTube can understand that you guys like the content that we provide and show it to more people. So like, subscribe, and ring the bell notification.
So listen, I know I say we got the most legendary guests here every single time we come here. I promise you, I'm not underselling it this time. I'm telling you, this person here has so many accolades that we do not have a whole podcast in order to run them down. Without further ado, we have Wyonna Chenault with Chenault Dance Studio. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. So here at the Legendary People Podcast, we like to start off by finding out where the Legendary People guests come from, which is the origins. So without further ado, where'd you grow up at?
I grew up right here in Dayton, Ohio, in the Gym City. I'm Dayton Public School graduate, and I've lived in Dayton all my life, and I made Dayton my home and my business home.
Okay, but before we get to graduation, we got to start off, like, what area did you grow up in?
North Dayton by Good Samaritan Hospital, Fairview area.
Okay, so like, what was it like growing up in that area?
Fun. Fairview Elementary, which is no longer there, or Fairview Junior High, which has been relocated in that area. Just running around the North Dayton area, riding bikes, Five Oaks, all of that.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm a true Dayton kid.
There we
Yes.
go. So we'd like to find out, like, who were some of your childhood friends?
Some of my childhood friends are still my friends today, like Nitra Rucker, grew up with Michelle Hammond, just our whole little crew from People's Community CME Church, the church kids, you know how that goes, all of them, so yeah.
So you did have early influences in church as well. So were you active in that as well?
I was, of course, active in church and community first.
What church was it?
People's Community,
Okay.
CME Church, still there on the corner of 2525 North Gettysburg. I grew up at that church, and I was a PCC kid, as they called us. Did the whole junior usher board. Tried to do the choir, but we know that's not where my talents lie. But, you know, there's things you do for your parents, and you get it done and move on. So, yeah.
So you began dancing at 7.
Correct, I did.
So what was the first, like when did you first become exposed to dancing?
Well, I was actually an avid swimmer first, which a lot of people don't know. And my goal was to be an Olympic swimmer, ironically. And so then I started dance because a lot of little girls take dance. And I started downtown for a company called Ann Chessman, it wasn't that small, dance studio. And it was fun, and I enjoyed it because I got to be expressive and show my personality more than the pool. The pool, you have to migrate, do what your coaches say. It's all, team. But in dance, you got to show who you are personality-wise. And so that was always a lot of fun, very interesting. And I got to stand out a little bit more. So I really liked it. And then I also noticed that I was also one of the very few African-American young ladies in the program. So that was a little taxing at times. And so then I switched from there till I saw a dance team that had the most beautiful girls in the world coming down the street one day, and I had never seen an all-black dance team. And I was mesmerized. And I really, truly believe from that day my whole mindset changed.
Wow.
It was an all-black dance team?
Yes, it was Dakota at Center, from Dakota Center. And I came from a completely different dance studio where I was a minority. It was just me, and it might have been a couple others, but we were never in the same class at the same time. So I used to love parades, and my mom used to take me to a lot of parades. We used to go to Chicago and New York City and things like that to see parades. So one time I was here right at home for the Paul Laurence Dunbar parade, or actually this one was the Kettering Holiday at Home parade, and down the street came all of these beautiful African American girls, and I was floored. I'd never seen that many of us together. Wow. And they were awesome, and I was just mesmerized.
You never even conceived that something like this?
I didn't know it existed.
Wow.
I did not know it existed. And so we had heard that they were performing again at a Paul Laurence Dunbar parade. And then when I saw them, I literally turned to my mom and I said, I have to be one of them. Like, how do we get to be one of them? And at the end of the parade, back in the day, parades used to gather all at a park, and then we have like festivals. And there was a booth there for Dakota Center. I signed up that day, and I was with them for the next 12 years.
Wow.
That is so cool. So when you seen them dancing, did you feel like that they was actually better than what you were doing?
I felt that they were an entity. Like, they were beautiful, and they were an entity. And I was a little shorty doo-wop, and they were just like, they were all ages. And I was just like, where did they come from? Like, is this special? Like, I didn't know it was normal. Because where I came from, I was the only one. Right. So it was very different. It was intimidating, but I was excited. Like, I was ready to leave wherever I was to be a part of that program. Right. And that program is still, it's ran by Lois Hughey, who is one of my biggest mentors and made the footsteps for me to become who I am right now.
When you were dancing, and you was the only little sister
mm-hmm.
in this class that you were in, how was it? Was it more structured? Because I know when I'm coaching basketball, and we have kind of like, you have white programs, you might have a black program. It seems like different races are damn near good at teaching different things.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes white kids seem like they're a little more fundamental. Like, man, they do everything with just a lot of structure. Right. Where I think a little younger bros, we might rely a little bit more on our athleticism. Mm-hmm. So I think we kind of coach a little bit different. Was there a difference in the technique of the dancing and the coaching of how to dance? Was it two different programs?
I believe there was definitely a difference in the coaching. When I was with the first studio where I was the minority, you basically just fall in line. I mean, you don't really ask a lot of questions. You don't stand out as much. You fall in line. You are basically taught to assimilate at times because you don't want to make waves. You don't. And again, the other thing I had was always the big girl. So I was always the big girl in the class. So when I would go home, I would tell my mom, it's important for me to practice harder. I never want them to say she can't do it because of her size or she can't do it because she looks different. Mm-hmm. So I took that took that on and always wanted to become the best I could be. I never wanted to be a reason or give a reason why I couldn't do something. So I would definitely say when I switched over to the second program, it was more celebrated as to who I was. It was more, what do you bring to the table? Give me some sass. What are you bringing me? And I'm like, wait, you want my word? You want to know what I can do? You want to know who I am? And it's really actually what I teach now to our young ladies that I coach, which is I'm not sending you into a room to assimilate. I am sending you into a room to stand out. Because in today's society, we must stand out. Now, we have to be strong, educated, and confident in our sport and what we're doing, but we must stand out just to be judged accordingly to anyone else. So we have to be on a different set of skills. So I definitely believe that.
So what did that do for your confidence at that stage of your life, going from, assimilate to now you're the star now?
I believe that entire opportunity gave me all the confidence that I have today, because I also know that confidence comes in sessions. So it is something that we teach young ladies today that, they seem confident, but really they're not. We all struggle with confidence. So when you find your niche and you find something that you are actually good at, no one can take that away from you. Just like education, once you have it, you have it. Absolutely. No one can take that away from you. So your job is to study your craft and become as good as you can be, to dedicate yourself to it, your mindset to it, and all of that to make yourself stronger, because you are only as good as what you put out there. So as soon as you start slacking, someone somewhere is working harder than you, and they will beat you when you come up against them. So I think confidence is key. For me, as a little round black girl, dance gave me all the confidence, because it was actually when it was about 6th or 7th grade when my mom set me down and said, with 2 pads of note paper, and said, it's time for us to make a decision. I was getting in trouble at swim because I would have to leave early and go to dance. I was getting in trouble at dance because I would have to leave early or miss some dance. But I was dedicated to both sports. So now's the time where I had to take sports seriously, get private lessons, private coaching. So my mom set me down one Saturday morning with a notepad of paper. It's time to make a decision. I want you to write your pros and cons of both sports. Whatever you decide, we will go further with that. No questions asked. I will fully support you, and it's your decision to make. And so she left the kitchen, and very shortly after, I was like, Mom, I'm ready. She goes, you couldn't be. Because on one side of my room, I had posters of swimmers, and the other side, I had dancers, Debbie Allen, who's my idol. And I love her. Yes.
I don't know about Faye.
Oh, you know? Yeah. Okay, don't play. Okay.
Come on, man.
He said, don't put me out there.
Going off, man. He tried to score a point on me on the early side.
So, yeah, he did. So I was, I call myself a dual sporter, but it was easy for me to make the decision. And it shocked my mom. And she said, why? And I said, because in dance, I get to become someone every time I put on a different costume. Every time I get to step out on that stage, I get to prove to people who are sitting there already judging me. They're already like, she can't dance. She's too round, or she's this, or she's that. And as soon as that music come on, I get to prove them wrong every single time. So that was a challenge to me. And in the pool, it was a little different. It was fun, but it wasn't challenging. It was about the times and the speed you put up to help your team. So that's what made me decide dance, and I never really looked back. Yes. Now I look back at it and was like, what was I going to do with swim? Like, would I be in the pool right now? Like, who am I? I might be. Might be a swim coach.
So, you have siblings. Are they doing anything during this time, like sports-wise, anything like that?
Siblings?
Well, you have a.
I have a brother. Yes.
Yeah.
He was a wrestling coach. And he was in the service. He's actually a minister now. So yeah. No, we definitely take different paths in life.
Okay.
Definitely.
Shout out to him.
Yeah.
So, like during this time in school, is this what 80s kind of getting into the 80s? I mean, you start to notice different things changing in the neighborhood, obviously, because, we're not immune to the social qualms of
absolutely
of drug use and stuff like that. What was the dance studio like for you to be able to escape from the social norms that are?
Well, it was definitely a second and sometimes first home, because I spent a lot of time there. I lost my mom at a very young age, at 16, and my dance family became my real family. So some of my dance moms, shout out to Marjorie Smith and Marie, Aunt Marie and Lois Hugie, they kind of take you under your wings, and it's more important for you to be with your dance sisters and stay out of trouble to be able to dance. So it became an accountability partner for me, most importantly. So there was no options to fail. My mom had set the tools for success and had set a strong foundation. And then I was blessed to have a beautiful godmother, Gwendol Trice, who made sure that those steps were followed out. So I never missed a beat. I actually believe we buried my mom on a Tuesday and I competed on a Saturday with my dance sisters. And I think that was the only thing my mom would have wanted. The only difference was my mom wasn't in the stands that year. Wow. So that's how important it became to me. So, yeah.
So, like, what middle school did you go to?
Fairview.
Fairview.
Yes.
So, how did you like Fairview during that time you were going to school?
During that time, it was cool. We were going back and forth between junior high being separate from the high school at that time. So I think we were like the first kids that had the 10th, 11th, and 12th graders out of the building. Because I know my brother and his friends went to Fairview, but it was a high school at that time.
Right.
So when I went to it, it was junior high only. So it was different. We got to get out of the elementary. We thought we were big dogs, except for the freshmen let us know that we weren't. So by the time I got to my ninth ninth graders were already moved into the high school. So you start back over again.
So at this time, I mean, you already doing dancing after school, but I mean, like, you still have to have some type of affinity towards the cheerleading and stuff like that. I mean, did you have any hopes or anything like
Absolutely
that?
not.
Okay.
I was a dancer.
Right.
Yeah, I was
There's
a dancer.
Big difference between that.
There's a difference. There is a difference. I was a dancer and I was committed to dance. And other than that, I did oratorical competitions. I participated in high school for we had a radio station and a television station.
Yeah, I did that as well.
Oh yeah. So I did that. But no other really sport. Actually, I was definitely not the person I am today, and a lot introverted. So dance was almost a secret because I did it for my community and not my school. Wow. So only my close friends knew I did it. But other than that, no one knew I did it. So I was able to have basically two different lives. I had the shy and intimidated and quiet, just keep your head down so nobody makes fun of you kind of Nona, and then dance floor Nona, which was two totally separate entities.
Right.
So I was able to grow into that second Nona later.
So now you're trying to, then you're transitioning from middle school to high school. That's the part where we started, I don't know, but to me it kind of seems like we kind of feel ourselves, start feeling like we're starting to come to our own. Mm-hmm. How is that helping you benefit when it comes to you doing dancing and that magnitude? Because, to me it seems like they'll throw that fast thing on girls whenever they're just, doing things. How's it like for you transitioning from middle school to high school?
I think I was more trying to find myself. I was in a different situation. I had probably just lost my mom, so it was a little bit different for me. I was just trying to get through it at that time. The group I hung around, we were low-key, nerds. We weren't the coolest. I tell that to my friends now. My friends are cool. I am not so cool, but people will think I'm cool because of my circle. But I'm not that cool. And I'm a little bit corny, and it's okay. I'm okay with it.
Okay. So during high school, you go to, what high school did you go to?
Meadowdale. Correct.
Another Meadowdale legend.
Lion.
Legend. Yeah. Me and Smith also went to Meadowdale at different times as well. So, what kind of things are you getting into during high school?
During high school, I was learning that it was okay to have a voice. So I got into, like I said, KMHSV, the Voice of the Lions, the radio station, the television station. And that was really kind of my coming out that maybe I wasn't so as introverted as I thought. Now looking back, I run into a lot of Lions and I'll say, yeah, I went to school with you. You probably don't know who I am. And they're like, I know exactly who you are. And I'm like, you know me? And, that kind of thing. So that's kind of shocking, actually, at times. So maybe I wasn't as, head down and quiet as I thought I was.
Okay, so during this time, of course, so since you're on TV, you're getting a little bit of the communication, which benefits you later on.
Right.
You end up going to college for that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go to Sinclair at that point? Okay. So now you go from there to graduating high school. It's a tremendous feat. What's it like for you?
It was a little scary because I didn't necessarily have the typical support system that a lot of kids have. I didn't have parents at all at that time. I said my mom passed away as a freshman in high school. My dad passed away as a freshman in college. So I didn't have your typical support system. I had some phenomenal women. I had, like I said, my godmother, Gwen Trice. I had Aunt Monica Turner and Lois Hugie. I had those people who made sure failure was not an option, but it was an untraditional like support system. So it was just making sure that I was staying safe. I was still staying in the path that my mom had set forth, and just staying grounded, I think. Right. So it wasn't as traditional as most people would have it, but we definitely found our way, and I'm here. So
you're at the same dance studio for 12 years. So is this where you kind of gained that like a family feel?
Absolutely.
Is what
Absolutely. Those same young ladies that marched down the street became my big sisters in dance. Tamika Lewis, Shanetta Sutton, Valerie Daphne, all of those beautiful girls that I spoke about earlier, they became our big sisters. And we looked to them, for guidance. We looked to them as mentors and role models, and we couldn't wait to be them, kind of thing. So as they grew up and graduated and moved on, it was us who set the tone. So I became to have a voice, and my director actually trusted my voice a lot. I got to start mixing music with I'm about to tell my age for real now, but the boombox with the double cassettes, and you could pause, record, and all that kind of thing. I started choreographing routines at a very young age, and that's really where I found my love and passion. That it really wasn't with performing; it was more so with the creating aspect of it.
How much do you think is training, and how much is it talent?
I think that talent is very important, and a lot of us have an innate talent. We have talents that are untapped, and talents that are unnurtured, and talents that just aren't fed. However, training is preparation, and preparation is key. So you have to prepare to be successful. So I always say, as a studio owner and a competitive team owner, I come across a lot of teams who have some of the best talent. However, I believe in the saying that I did not create: hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. So I believe that preparing our kids and preparing ourselves for success helps the children that we help later in life. So it's that talent thing is important, but that preparation is key, because you can make a champion out of someone who wasn't that talented to begin with. But you've put into them, you've nurtured them, you've helped them see that they can work hard, they can see a goal, and they can attain it. Right. So everyone who's a champion is not necessarily the best at their craft. And I think that's something that we at Chenault, we are proud to say that we do very well.
Okay. So you founded it in 94, but you say established in 1995.
Yes.
What was the very first inkling of doing that rather than going back into your feeder group of where you started? Because naturally you were already doing that for the 12 years there. Because it go from you're the small kid there, then you move up, and now you're helping the younger kids behind you, and so what was the decision between starting your own and joining that one?
Well, ironically, this is a funny story, and I swear I just told this weekend. There were two, we call each other's cousins now, but there was two young ladies that were a huge part of me manifesting Chenault dancers, and that's Africa Landers and Janetta Smith, and we danced together at Dakota. So we were at a slumber party one night. We're teenagers, and we're all three laying in the bed. We're talking about what we're going to do in the future, what we're going to do later, 10 years, 20 years down the road. And so we all said, I knew I was going to own a dance studio. I was definitely going to be a dance teacher or work on a cruise ship. I don't know where the tie-in comes from. But I was gonna do those two things.
Somehow you still gonna be on the water. And
Yes, I was gonna dance.
You love water, by the way.
I do. I've been on 11 cruises. I love cruises too. Yeah, so I love those two things. So Africa actually we were talking about some of our negative experiences or some of the things that we wanted to grow past and move on. And I, for instance, have been a Dakota-ette all my life. And the word "et," I was just like, if I have a dance team, I want to drop that word. Like, I don't want that word. And so it was Africa who said, well, Nona, your last name is so different and it's French and, this, that, and the other. And she said, it should be Chenault. And I was like, yeah, I like that. And then my favorite colors are pink and green. So I was like, yeah, and it should be neon green and neon pink. We literally manifested that at 16 and 17 years old, and nothing has changed from that conversation in that bed. Nothing has changed.
That is truly amazing.
I just said I wanted a place where young ladies could grow. I didn't care what size they were. I didn't care what ethnicity they were. I didn't care where they came from, their financial background for their families. I just wanted to give them a positive experience and set them up for the tools of success personally. I wanted it to be about dance, but I wanted my program to give young ladies all the things that I was given through dance. And they weren't always dance related. Some of them was sisterhood, some of them was accountability, some of them was being mature, having a voice, looking past your the things that can hold you back, making sure you're not using your downfalls as an excuse,
right,
and making sure you're staying on top of your own personal excuses. I'm big, so what? That has nothing to do with dance. So you have to dance bigger. I have to be bigger. I have to make sure I work harder. I come from a home with no parents. So what? I have a support system. My support system is going to make sure I'm not going to fail. So these are the things I want to make sure I teach and taught young ladies coming in.
To encompass like a lot of that is you also added a element of mentorship,
absolutely,
sisterhood. I mean, like to me, I think that is a big reason why you have such a successful practice, because I mean, it's like you said before, like from your first experience, it was come in, fall in line, keep your head down. The fact you're letting people come here and shine and let their natural talents be nurtured. To me, I think that to me, I'm already just like, that's just super amazing.
Thank you.
And then when I start looking at the other things you guys do, such as the Rosebuds, that is adorable.
Rosebuds are one of my favorite classes.
I cannot. So at 3 years old.
3 years old. You can start Chenault at 3 legally. Now let's be clear. Yeah, you heard that, legally, because I have a baby niece, ditto. Her name's Nova, and she illegally takes the class because she's not even 2 yet. But she shows up, and I just look the other way. But legally, you could take the class, enroll at 3 years old, and they are Rosebuds. And we take that name seriously, even though it's so cute. We feel like they are the budding roses of tomorrow. So we want to make sure that we're keeping them busy. We're teaching them verbiage. It's not just run around and play. We actually speak to them in the language, teach them the language, so that when they grow up, and there's a stepping stone for Chenault from 3 years old all the way through seniors in high school. So you go from Rosebuds, then you go to tiny team, primary team, elementary team, junior team, and senior team, so that we're year round. So we're keeping our young ladies busy, so that we are keeping them goal oriented, so that they know. I just had a conversation tonight about COVID, keeping yourself safe because you're an athlete, because you have to, just because you're a kid, we understand that you have to take your livelihood seriously and make sure that you are staying a strong athlete first. Right. So Rosebuds, they are simply adorable, and we only take a dozen roses at a time, 12 roses at a time.
That's a bar. We take 12 roses.
12 roses at a time, and we like to groom them and nurture them. Shout out to Rosebuds. We have a few spaces open for October classes, so if you want to be one of the 12, come on through.
So when you're dealing with 3 to 5-year-olds, how much can they actually learn and retain when it comes to dance moves?
Everything. And it's not just dance moves. It's about following the leader, learning how to stay in your square, boundaries. It sets boundaries, learning how to actually take a whole hour class. Now it's an hour class, but it's basically 45 minutes of instruction. You have to be ready for lots of potty breaks. We have snack breaks. Sometimes class goes well if you have pixie sticks. Sometimes it doesn't go so well if you have peanut butter crackers. You don't know. You just have to see where the roses. The roses set the tone. I don't set the tone. Right. I'm not in charge of the roses. The rosebuds are in charge of me. So it's to see how they feel. It's a Monday night class. So it's just to see how they're feeling that day. So actually they learn a lot. Follow the leader, tempo. They learn how to keep a beat, things of that nature. So it's really fun. It's absolutely adorable.
So how do you deal with the crazy dance moms?
Ooh, crazy dance moms. Well, first of all, we'll change the word from crazy dance moms to passionate. Passionate dance moms.
You're good at this. Media trained.
Passionate dance moms. Because the first thing you have to realize is that you are dealing with parents. Mm-hmm. And to parents, their kids are the most important things in their lives. Mm-hmm. So even when it comes to discipline or something they don't agree with you on, it's not that they're crazy, it's that they are tunnel vision to their child. Absolutely. So the first thing I typically do is take a deep breath when there is a problem and realize before I say anything, this is the most important thing in their lives. Mm-hmm. And I need to listen to them and make sure that they're what they're saying is being heard and validated. However, my job is to make a decision for the betterment of the organization. Mm-hmm. So all the young ladies are the most important things in my lives. Some things you just can't deal with. Right. You know what I mean? Some things you just got to be like, okay. But some things you can genuinely get to the root of the problem. Mm-hmm. And I feel like structure has helped that. I've not always been where I am right now. I feel like structure has helped that. When you have a governing rule like a parent handbook or guidelines for the program, they can see it's all in black and white. You're not making up stuff as you go. I'm not being funny to your child and not being funny to the other ones. There's no favorites, things of that nature. So you have to realize and respect, first of all, where they're coming from. Chenault is more of a family-oriented studio, so I would like to think that all of my students are like family to me. Some of their moms are like, sisters or siblings or at least friends. So there are times that things do get crazy. I tell people that all the time. No, some of that is real. There are times that some get crazy. But once you set the premise of we are just trying to raise this program to excellence, most of the time you can get people to get on board, to buy into the program, to buy into the philosophy of they see right then in front of them. She's trying to maintain positivity. She's trying to keep the young ladies grounded and maneuvering through life in a level of excellence. Mm-hmm. So we come to an understanding. We never have to come to necessarily an agreement, but an understanding. Right. And I think that's what's healthy. I've had some of the best moms in the world, dance moms. And shout out to I have great dance dads too. Yeah. Let's not play there. I've got dads that I'll just say, I think I need a stage and I think I need this, and they'll get to building. And they get to building, they get to cooking hamburgers and doing hot dogs out in the lobby or out in the parking lot. So I've got great dance dads too. I've got dance siblings, and I'm on like almost my third generation now. So I've just got great dance families. So yes, there are some, let's not paint that perfect picture. There definitely are some hairy times, but you just hope you can overcome them. And you just got to realize everybody gets real rah-rah about theirs. Mm-hmm. And we just got to wheel it back into it's about ours. It's about community at this point. So,
right. So like you spoke about how COVID kind of offset some things. One thing I saw that y'all were doing a lot of things were it was like team builder stuff, like y'all had y'all camping and stuff like that. How much did COVID offset some of that type of stuff?
Ooh, well, COVID definitely changed the way we do daily operations. We were shut down, I want to say 2 weeks before our state championships and about a month before our national dance team championships, which we did go on to win, but it was virtually. It was virtually. We literally had to send in a video and hope for the best kind of thing. So then the very next year, which was this past competition season, it changed a lot. Our friends and family could not come and support us. Each young lady only had 2 tickets to enter each competition. So that got to be hairy. But we were blessed to still be able to get these young ladies out on the floor. We're hoping this year we can get a little bit back to normal. But for our daily operations, of course, when we first reopened, we went through temperature checks. We went through, hand sanitizer at the door. We take a lot more restroom breaks to allow dancers to actually go wash their hands versus using hand sanitizer all the time. Things like that. We now have a no parent policy. So we don't let parents inside the building unless they need to come in to speak with the office manager or maybe use the restroom. So we're trying to keep down the in and out of how many people our dancers see when they're in our building, because we want our dancers to have a safe space. We want them to be able not to be masked up when they're actually on the dance floor, because as sports mandates, they don't have to. Right. They don't have to be masked up. But however, if you have a lot of visitors, you want to protect the kids. So unfortunately, we went through an entire season with no COVID issues, and I think that was because the kids were at home, knock on wood. Parents were at home. We were all kind of just maneuvering safely. Now our children are back at school, so now the cases are rising. So now we're dealing with it as it comes to us basis. So we've definitely had cases. We've definitely had staff out. We've had students out. We have a COVID policy that all of our parents have signed. So we definitely have a way to mandate to our parents, let them know that your child's been exposed. This is what we're planning on doing. We typically shut down the studio for 24 hours for a deep clean. We reopen 24 hours later. We make sure any students or staff that were exposed during that time know that they're exposed so they can go get checked or at least monitored their dancer. So we've been able to operate on that manner and just, pray everybody's been able to come out of it as safely as possible. So that's what we're doing.
So speaking of challenges, we didn't go to the part where you first, got your first trophy, right? So walk us through when you got your first trophy. It's not the 2007 one, right? It's before that?
No. The first trophy was that was 27 years ago when we first started the program. And that trophy is in the building right now. No matter what trophies I get rid of, we keep that trophy. And that was a BW3 Dance and Cheer Championship Classic. I believe that was in Indianapolis. That team won that. And
walk us through that day.
Well, that day was awesome. I was nervous because it was, of course, my first time actually owning a team, but it was my team's first time of performing. So it was different. I had a senior high team. It was a cheer dance competition, and I believe it was in a mall. So that was completely different than what we were used to. Our parents were there, but we didn't have a huge following. Right. So it was different. The girls went to perform, and it was exciting. They did a very great job and all of that. And I really didn't realize how good they did until other directors came up to me and just said, "Oh my God, where are you guys from? And we haven't heard of you." And, this, that, and the other. And I was like, "Oh, we're from Dayton, Ohio." And, this type of thing. And then they won first place. And I was just like, oh, okay, this is exciting. Like, it was really exciting. And for me, it was nerve-wracking because I said, oh, now we got to go home and do better. Like, that's the thing. People will take this, I hope no one takes it the wrong way. It's easy to become a champion. It's hard to stay one. You know what I mean? Because you really now have to put forth the effort. You really have to now be creative. You really have to go home and hype up those kids to do more, be better, be greater, look for higher ceilings to climb. And sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. And especially as our society is moving about, sometimes hard work isn't put in the forefront. So you do a lot of selling, you do a lot of preaching, you do a lot of, come on, you can do it, kind of thing. But we just got to hang in there for our kids. That's what's important.
One of the things that you said in one of your speeches to the children, which I love that they recorded it, is when you were saying that I don't want your 10, I want your 11, right? So to me, like, that thought process is infectious. I mean, if you have that type of winner mentality, you're preaching to the kids. We had Coach Powell on here and from Dunbar, and we asked him, what's your secret? You know what I mean? He was like, even when you feel in your heart that they ain't got it, you gotta convince them and tell them they got it.
Absolutely.
what is one story that you could tell us about a kid that came to your dance studio that you were the most surprised by?
The most surprised by?
Whoever that kid is shooting at right there in that one.
Yeah, I'm like they're
All
surprising,
amazing.
right? They are surprising and amazing. I think, generally speaking, my favorite type of kid is the one who has no idea how great they really are. But when you give them all the tools to be successful, people don't see them coming. Like, I love an underdog. I am an underdog.
There you go.
I truly am an underdog. And I love an underdog. I love a kid that rises from the ashes. I love a kid who you count out and then they come back. I love a kid whose parents go, what do we need to do? And I tell them the same thing. Prepare them. Bring them. Make sure they have everything they need. Make sure they're at home practicing. They can't just be in these walls of this studio and think they're going to be great. Right. Because somewhere out there, someone is more trained than them. They have more money. They have more tools. We have to be creative in how we prepare for greatness. And it's not always in the building. Yeah. Sometimes it is making sure, now that I've been a teacher, I too teach at Dunbar. Now that I've been a teacher, I've learned so much through people like Dr. Crystal Phillips, who has taught that, did you check to see if your student is 8 today? Has your student had breakfast, lunch, or dinner? And you're asking them to give you 110%. Maybe they really don't have 110%. They may not have come from a home where they were just dropped off in a successful situation. They may have come from a home of violence. They may have come from a home of dysfunction. And you just assume because they walk through your doors, they're ready to give you everything you need. They may not have everything they need to give it to you. So I think it's important to know who these children are, know where they're coming from, know what they're up against, so that you might not can fix those things, but you can home into them. I can have a heart-to-heart with a young lady and say, whatever it is that you're going through right now, I understand it's a big deal to you right now, but I promise you it's minuscule in the things that will come to you later. So if we can get through this hurdle, whether it be a boy, whether it be homework, whether it be my mom's yelling at me, if we can get through this right now, I promise you, you will be more trained for the next hurdle, because there will be a next hurdle. There's always a next hurdle. I mean, even with us as adults, we know we may look great right now, but we may be going through some things, walking through some things. So now, if you think back of our kids, they are really going through things. They are going through things that we didn't have to deal with.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? We didn't have those issues. They are going through things that we go through now as adults, as children. That's a completely different world.
Right.
So yeah.
That's amazing. So like you'll have some kids that been with you from Rosebuds, and you have other kids that come along, like during the process.
Right.
Which one do you feel is easier to buy into the system? Like somebody who comes in like, this is a super dope experience because they already had a bad experience, or someone who's grown up in the culture of what you already present?
I think there's a responsibility on both hands. For instance, the young ladies that have been with me, they know what to expect. And so they know it's not always fun and games. I tell them right now we're in the training process. This is the hard process. This is the process that's not so fun. This is why we have our team building activities and team bonding, to keep the fun there, because this is the hard work part. This is the part that's relentless and just, drills and skills and all of that choreography and the attitudes and all that. But we try to help them remember the time that they think that is super fun, which is the hair, the makeup, the glitz, the glamour, the lights, the awards, the trophies, the getting to know other teams, having sister teams and other people cheer for them. That's the part that is fun. So with the girls that have been with me for times, I tell them it's your responsibility to show the new girls just what they're getting into, because a new girl could come in and be like, this is too much work. Like, really, it's too much work. So this ain't fun to me. So it's easier to quit, which is another unfortunate mentality of some of the things that we have picked up along the way with children. It's easier to quit a hardworking program or something you got to commit yourself to. I've had a couple young ladies who've danced with me 27 years ago, Jatan Ruggs and Wandalyn Trice Hall. And Jatan, 27 years ago. And Jatan is now my assistant and coaches all the teams with me. Her daughter's been on my team for 8 years.
Wow.
So, and then Wandalyn, her same thing. Her daughter has been with me. I think she's about to get her 9th or 10-year badge. Her daughter is, but her mom danced with me 27 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, to me, I think that benefits, like the kid that's there, because when they can come home and say, oh, like coach was being hard on me, mama be like, no, it's not. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Exactly.
So, like, having that rapport with the parents, I think is super dope. Also, like, you have other mentors that you didn't mention yet, which is Katie Crosby. Mm-hmm. And she helped you in business also.
Yeah, she helped me when I had Chenault dancers, but I felt like it was just like after school program kind of thing, community program. And I remember saying, "Oh, I think I want to be a business." And she really pulled me to the side. Her daughter was a part of the program too, and said, "No, you are a business. Like, you literally have a following, you have a building, you have people who buy into your program, you provide a service. You are a business. We just need to get your paperwork done. We need to get you organized." And literally, we sat down at her dining room table and like devised the parent handbook that I still use today. Of course, it's been updated and things like that, but I literally still use that today. So yeah, she absolutely got me organized. We'll say that. Got me organized for sure.
So what's the added benefit of having positive friends, having a positive family, and how it benefited your life?
I think for the most part, my experiences through life and dance have exactly made me who I am. Like, there's not really too many stories I can tell about my life that has nothing to do with dance, or what dance has taught me. You just grow up with it. And one of the things is, it's funny, I deal with young ladies. So to hear a young woman or someone say, "Oh, I don't deal with females. I don't do females." And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, oh my God. Like, those type of conversations with our young girls are so important, because we need to make sure that they learn how to get along with everybody. Yes. They learn how to, it's okay that we are different. And there's some things that are turned offish, from one person to the next. But your job is to learn from people. Your job is to sit and learn and try to find I feel like every relationship in your life, whether it's female and male, or a sister, brother, girlfriends, or whatever, each relationship should bring something to the table. Like, you shouldn't have somebody in your life who doesn't bring something to your table, who doesn't give you something, and you shouldn't be that type of friend either. So the people that I keep around me are people I can learn from, people who uplift me, people who silently support me, people who publicly support me, people who see what I'm doing and what can I do to help. I'm not a dance person, but I can come fold some shirts. I can come organize this. My friends step up to the plate. They show up and just, what do you need done? Mm-hmm. And I am very thankful for them, very supportive of them. It has allowed me to excel. It's allowed me to become a part of a board of the performance board that we compete against. Now I'm on the board with them. It allows me to learn from my mentors, Mindy Ferry. It allows me to step up to the plate. I have a sister who helped with Chenault in the very beginning, Tova Rose. Her real job right now is she prays for me. She prays for me. She prays for the students. She prays for the program. She knows where my heart is. She knows I may not be in church on Sunday, which I'm not, but she'll send me a scripture about something I'm going through to make sure that when I go to battle out in these streets for our young ladies, that I'm covered. And I know that. So I know the times that she steps back or steps away to do her life, she's right there in her hot pink and black supporting us. So, those are the type of people that I have in my life, and I'm truly blessed and honored to have them. It's not me. I always say I'm not the face of Chenault, and I am the name, but it is a true entity that runs that program.
Right. And to me, it's super dope, because I think a lot of people who watch our show may not have a strong support system. I mean, like, it could be off of circumstance. It could just be based off of them picking and choosing the wrong friends. But as you can see, this personally benefited her life to where she's actually feeding it back into other girls and boys that's in the dance team and stuff like that. Let's talk some more of your highlights, okay? So you had 4 national televised dance
performances.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
What was it like getting the first one?
The first Citrus Bowl halftime show I performed in, I think I was 16 years old. maybe 15 or 16. Funny story, I was the only one in my area that was going. And so the president of our association, now, which is Mindy Ferry, she linked up a team from Conneaut, Ohio called Wildfire, and they were coming through Ohio, headed toward Florida, headed toward the Citrus Bowl, and their whole organization was going. So here I am, this one little teenager. I had no ride. I believe at this time my mom had already passed, so I was just like trying to figure out how to do this. I hadn't gotten this big honor, was super excited about it, but how do I go? And so that team, literally, my brother drove me to a Bob Evans in Cincinnati, and I met that team there. I'd never met them before in life, never seen them before. They never seen me, and I was going to ride with them to Orlando. And I got on the bus. I was just nervous, and they picked me up, and the director of that program now, who is a very good friend of mine, Mary Murtha, and she just tells the story all the time, how this quiet little teenager got on her bus, and then it just went haywire from there, like laughing and joking, switching seats, and they are literally lifelong friends of mine right now.
That is truly amazing.
And I was down there in Florida. None of my family could go. I was by myself, and literally it was one of the best experiences of my life, and I was blessed to be able to do it at least 3 more times.
That is truly amazing.
And then after that, I was able to take my own team down. And so one of the funny stories about that was some of the security guards that worked at the hotel where we stayed remembered me when I performed. So they would always keep trying to send me to bed at bed check. And I go, no, I'm an adult now. I'm an adult. I've got students. They're like, no, you got to be out of the hall. I'm like, no, I'm not a kid. Like, they would always try to put me in bed. It was kind of fun.
So you also performed at the Disney Epcot Center.
Mm-hmm.
What was that experience like for you?
That was crazy. We did a parade there. That was awesome. And they actually still do that. And it's amazing to see how much work goes into such a short period of time. I've been able to send several of my dancers now to do the very same thing. And they always love it. It's a great time. It's well ran. It's well put together. And it's just a lot of fun. I mean, it's an experience I'll never have again, but it's awesome. Like, it's so awesome.
So, Smith, I mean, is that kind of similar to AAU, kind of like where they have like solo talents in certain areas where they'll pick them up and take them to certain things as well?
Definitely. You know, I tell Nona this all the time, and I learned when I first started coaching, me and her used to work together at, just doing little stuff, her music for some of her competitions. I would kind of help edit it a little bit. Mm-hmm. I would edit.
Get some credit.
Right.
But she was the actual producer. She would just bring it to me and say, "Bro, engineer this and edit it." So
Wait.
Okay.
Wait.
Because me and him got.
You say producer? You say producer?
Running beef on what an actual producer in production is. Okay. See, he would call me the producer of your stuff, but no, she just told me what to do.
No, I would say she was a producer because she told you what to do.
She was.
Okay.
She was.
Just like Puff Daddy would tell.
Well,
Keep my points, man.
the producer. Yeah, you kind of right.
He gave you your props.
Thank you so much.
He gave
Okay,
you props.
I've been fighting for that 1 point for like months now.
Right. But she actually would, bring all of the stuff together. But just talking about this as far as the AAU dance comparison, Nona used to teach me how to coach. And I used to ask her how to do just different stuff, how she handles different things, because coaching is so much more than just arranging the steps. It's a lot of dealing with the parents and then how you handle attitudes and how you teach the kids and just a lot of the things that's outside of just the actual execution of the competition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, but yeah, what she's doing is just the same. I mean, she win them championships, don't she?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you win them championships, don't they?
Yep.
I put her up against anybody because what she's doing is she's giving the kids the confidence to be able to go out there, believe in themselves enough to take that mask off, that cool mask. Mm-hmm. Part of being great is not worrying about how cool you look.
Right.
But just being yourself and being creative and being in the moment. Just like when you out there hooping, you got to play hard defense. You feel me? Mm-hmm. You can't look like you working too hard because sometimes people think if you working too hard, then you ain't being cool enough. I think that is what she's doing is completely similar. Competitions and
That's super dope. So you also coached at Wilberforce.
Yes.
So was that before you started your own?
I had already started Chenault, and then I just went to corporate America and did the whole, normal 9 to 5. Most people won't believe that, but yeah, because I'm not a morning person. So I realized when the opportunity came up to coach at Wilberforce, I was like, oh, I thought that was
The Jazzers.
Yes, Wilberforce Jazzers. Shout out to the WU. And that I thought that was actually my ultimate dream, was to coach a college team. I thought, because you think at that level when you work with little ones, you're like, oh my God, if I could become a college coach, that's everything. And it was an eye-opening experience working there, and definitely it shifted something in me. I realized that, oh, well, when you coach college dancers, lots of times they've come already from different programs, or they've been dancers for other people and all of that. So really it's a lot of more organization. You're not teaching as much. And so the opportunity, right then I decided to go back to school to get my dance degree. And the opportunity at Sinclair came about.
The director.
Yes, the director of the program there, she knew what I did with Chenault and said, well, I'm going to offer you, bargain with you, that if you start a program here at Sinclair, I will give you class credits. So that's a no-brainer. Wait a minute, you mean I don't have to start off with the freshmen in college? Because I'm an old person by now. I don't have to start off, with basic ballet 101 or all that. And so she gave me a lot of credit. So I started the program at Sinclair, the SCC dance team. And it literally, that's what it was, a light bulb moment. It was like, you know what? Maybe this is not, you want to mentor more. And these are actually people who are not that much younger than me. And it's hard to ask someone to give you 110% and commit to you when they're looking you in the face and saying, I got a husband and kids at home. You're like, oh, dance is not as important to you as it is to me.
Right.
I mean, so you can't, I can't be like, you are late to practice. And they're like, girl, I got a baby. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. So that's when that aha moment happened. And I was just like, it might have seemed like it was a bigger honor to coach college teams at that time, but really to entrust a young, impressionable person and to nurture them through the art of dance is really, to me, a bigger honor. And that's when I decided it's time for me to open a studio and it's time for me to get back to the basics. And I think for the first at least 7 years, that was my motto, to get back to the basics.
And to me, it's also noted that for that person to already, like, your name already ringing enough bells for them to say, we're gonna, we're gonna credit you with what you already have. To me, it's something like, me and Smith say all the time, when you great, that type of stuff just go right by you. You didn't notice that. Like, to me, that is amazing.
Thank you. It was definitely a blessing, and I was excited about the opportunity.
Okay, so in 2005, y'all do the revamping of the program. So then y'all do the dance competition and the dance scene. 2005 when you opened the studio.
Yes.
And then you won a choreography championship award.
Right. Yeah, we won best choreography. I believe that was for one of our pieces, I Shall Not Be Moved, which was a slavery routine.
Wow.
It was a routine based off of slavery and all the adversities of that. And it was a huge honor. And still to this day, those are always some of the big awards, to get as a director, because you're not performing.
Right.
So I know my colleagues and we always are super excited when you're accoladed for the vision of it all, which is, as a creator, and because you create so much, that's important. It's the person on the mic is great too, but it was somebody that helped behind that mic, so that's always a great accolade.
So in 2005, when you first started, y'all win, and then 2 years later, you win Director of the Year.
Yeah, that was my first time.
That's like an MVP type award, ain't it? Like that point.
Yeah, and this organization has some phenomenal directors. Shout out to Showcase America Unlimited. They have some of the best directors and best talent, and it's an honor to have that accolade and to be chosen from your peers or to be nominated from your organization and to be voted upon and to win that. And I'm super excited. I've been able to achieve that twice without not even knowing. So it's a great honor.
Yeah. And to me, it shows how great you are, because if you win in 2007, then you win it 10 years later, that means you've been keeping that same level of...
At least trying, yes.
So, I mean, getting an honor like
Yeah, I'm just saying it's super like the MVP award. She was like, yeah, okay, I want another one.
How long have you been instructing and directing before you got that award?
Well, when I actually started the studio was 2005, and I believe I won in 2007.
2 years later,
So 2
she
years.
won the MVP.
Who gives the award?
It's from Showcase America Unlimited. And so you're nominated, whether you be nominated by another director or your team. And then it's voted upon the trustees and the board of directors for Showcase.
Okay.
And I'm so honored now I get to help vote on those
You're
things
trustee,
now.
yeah.
It's so awesome to see someone win those.
Is this an award that's for other companies that are here in Dayton, or is it spread out?
No, you have to be a part of the organization.
Okay.
So you have to have a team that competes with the organization and be a part of the organization. So you're nominated, and typically someone will nominate you and they'll read part of why you were nominated or why you were chosen. And so it's just huge. It's normally done at nationals. You don't see it coming. You're definitely blindsided. And it was just wonderful. I mean, I try to rarely cry, but that was definitely, both of those times were definitely crying moments, because you're just like, you think you are a very small person in a very large world, because that's who we are. We are. But then to stand in something where you can look up left and right and see people and teams that you look upon and you're so impressed with, and see other coaches and directors, you just go, oh my God, they're so great, and they have this, and they're standing up clapping for you, they're standing up supporting you, they're acknowledging you, and you're like, wait, little me in Dayton, Ohio, you know me? Like, it's one of those things. It really is an aha moment. It's a blessed moment. I don't take it for granted. And I'm always blessed when my parents nominate or sit down and write a letter, because you're the bad guy all the time. I'm the one that has to say no or let's do this. So for someone to sit down and actually correlate accolades for you to try to express to an organization of what you've given to them or how special you are, and for an organization to buy into that or see it, it's just amazing. It really is.
Man, that is a big salute.
Absolutely.
That is huge, man.
Thank you.
And just like you said, from Dayton, you know what I mean? We have some great, talented people around here who stand out on a national level.
Yep.
And we go out and deliver things like that all the time, man. And it's amazing that you was able to bring that home, like, for real.
And
For real.
yeah, and I also want to ask, okay, so which one do you think was more challenging? Getting it your first time and then having to wait 10 years to win it again, or you feel like the second one you already was a fine oil machine by the time you got it?
Well, let's see. The second one was such a surprise. I didn't even, you don't think of it. So you don't think, oh, I can get that award. You don't think of anything like that. The second one, I think, is closer to my heart, probably just because you do have to keep those years of longevity. You do have to keep bringing something to the table, that type of thing. And that was, I believe that was the first year we had won national grand champions. So I was already on a high of, oh my God, this day couldn't get any better. It's like Christmas when you keep getting presents and then they come out with the bike and you're like, I got the bike, and you're so excited. And so it's a funny story between the President's Association and myself, because I do find myself, I am a friend of hers. And so I feel like, you all text me about everything else. I had on the craziest outfit that day, because that day was a Sunday, and so our younger teams danced. So I try to be creative. So I had on this big gold chain because I think my younger kids were doing hip hop pandas.
Yep.
I had on this crazy t-shirt. My hair was crazy. And then they're like, I'm kind of sort of listening. And when they call my name and I go, no, you're kidding. Why wouldn't they have told me to dress better? Like, I was like, oh my God. Like, it was so crazy. And I think I said that. I leaned over to the mic and I go, you could have texted me. Now I'm standing in front of all these people in this crazy looking outfit. They'll think I wear this all the time. So
That's part of what makes you the director of the year.
I was dressed like the kids.
Yeah, dressed.
Crazy.
That's so tight.
So, but like you also still have a passion for teaching kids, so you naturally start to become a teacher. So, like, what did you go into teaching exactly?
I didn't go into teaching. Dr. Crystal Phillips moved me into teaching. She did. She saw something. I didn't know her. I didn't know her personally at all. And I rented her building to do our recitals every year. And one year we had a snafu. She worked it out for me. She was at like a track meet in Columbus. She was on the phone like handling business and worked it out for me. And I had no idea who she was. So one night I am down at a restaurant downtown. Shout out to Jasmine for Delish. And I was downtown and she walked up to me. She said, you're the dance lady, right? I was like, I answered to that. And I'm like, yeah. And she goes, I'm Crystal. And she introduced herself. I gave her this big hug. And when I sat back down with my friends, I go, no, really, she saved my life at this review. She worked it out for me, all of this kind of thing. And it's amazing how God puts people in your path. Mm-hmm. And you can't ignore those path meetings either. They happen for reasons. And then you have to nurture them. And I got to know who she was and was just like, oh my God, I didn't know she was so great. Like, she's amazing. And I'm like, wow, she remembered who I am. Right. Like, she is just like a guru, and she's out here just advocating for our kids, young girls, young boys, all of them advocating. And so she's a phenomenal woman. And so she reached out to me like, hey, I have this opportunity. I have you in mind. And I'm like, oh, you mean to be a teacher? She goes, you're already a teacher. And I was like, no, you mean a real teacher? She's like, no, you are a real teacher. And I did my next 6-7 years at Dunbar High School teaching dance.
Wow.
And it was literally because of her. She saw that in me from a chance encounter. So you can't take these chance encounters. You have to treat everyone with respect because you never know who you're standing next to. I stand next to some phenomenal women, and I've mentioned a few of them, but I stand next to some phenomenal women, and so you never know what their story is and where they can lead you, where just being in the company of greatness makes you great, and you have to do the work to stay with them because they're always moving, they're always evolving, so you have to work to stay on that level.
Speaking of always involving around great people, you threw away 300 trophies. Let's talk about that.
Threw away, discarded. So what happened was when I actually took over the building at the studio, it's a limited space, and we had gained so many trophies, and they are around the circumference of the dance floor.
Do you hear how cavalierly she says this? Like, she just said it like a cobwebs or something. And when there's so many, like...
Who compete for
years
and years and never win one.
Okay.
And she got 12 more trophies that same year.
The issue became the safety for the kids to be able to maneuver around the dance floor without running into trophies. So a lot of studios...
That is the most legendary flex I've ever heard on this podcast. That's a stat.
That's a ball.
That's a ball.
Okay, so at a lot of studios, they'll put trophies up, and we don't have that kind of space, so our trophies are down. So to keep our kids from running into them, falling on them, all of these things, we decided to get rid of several of them, and it was about 287. We did give some to the kids. Good. And our parent boosters at the time, they literally popped the nameplates off so we could frame them and see them. You want to see your accolades and be able to see where we've come from, where we need to continue to grow to, so you never get complacent. Right. And that type of thing. So we did have to call bulk trash, and they did come and get them.
Bulk
That's
trash
true.
To come get trophies. That is amazing. Yeah. The most amazing stat we heard on here. Trust me.
I just wish, like I said, and I said this earlier, that entities would give more to the kids. Like, we don't really need trophies because it literally is symbolic of one piece of metal, now plastic. They make them a lot lighter these days. One little thing for all the combination of hard work from parents to students, to coaches, to choreographers, to music people. You do all of this work and you're like, here you go, here's your trophy. So I do wish that sometimes that the kids could get more swag, they could get more things, or, banners or patches that they can have for themselves. Because it kind of probably does suck to do all this award and say you're great, and then you have to drive over to Trotwood to see what we won, because we have these trophies and that kind of thing. So
Do they give medals to the kids?
yes, at nationals we do win medals. So to win a medal, no matter how many teams there are, we compete in different divisions. So no matter how many teams there are, they give medals for gold, silver, and bronze. So 3 teams will win medals, and you have to be the first highest scoring routine, second highest scoring routine, and third highest scoring routine overall for the entire weekend. And that's a huge honor. So lots of times our goal for that year is to come home with a medal. We don't even care which one, bronze, silver, gold, we don't care. That's just a high-end goal for our dancers. This year,
Broke the record.
praise sweet baby Jesus. This year we were honored to win gold, silver, and bronze.
And that is the first time ever.
First time ever. We didn't know that was possible either. What's your sign? I'm a Leo.
We
Hey,
all Leos.
Leo's in the house.
Leo.
Leo.
Legendary Leos.
I already knew what sign she was.
Leos.
Do you see this trophy?
Yeah.
For the Leo?
Yeah.
You're a trophy.
You are a walking trophy. You are a walking
The
trophy.
Leos.
Yes, that's a stat.
That is a stat.
Where y'all trophy giveaway, man? You know what I'm saying? You don't got it if you ain't no Leo.
I find a lot of my circles is Leos too.
We don't even care about
We get along so much more than other people's side. Let's do a legendary quote. Kevin Bird left you a review. He said, the best dance studio in Ohio. They are on top in every category. This studio is all about producing well-rounded individuals who have gone on to do great things in school and their communities. Does that encompass what you do at your studio?
I pray to God it does. I pray to God it does. Whether my students end up being dancers or whether they end up, or Chenault is just a step into what they do next, I pray that it help prepare them to whatever's next. I pray that there's something that I gave them or the experience gave them that they can reach back to remember, not to panic in time of crisis, to look into the crisis and see what you can do to help. Sometimes it is literally lifting yourself up. Sometimes it's literally rising to the occasion of adversity. Sometimes it is just being nice, grateful, compassionate. Sometimes it's bigger than us. So just not to panic in life.
Now, here on the Legendary People podcast, we have a thing called the butterfly effect. It's either something that I've heard during the course of the interview or something I found in my research I found was truly amazing. I like to draw parallels, right? So one parallel I drew was from your upbringing of, you having that family community when you needed them the most. That going through, your process of getting to where you are today. And then what you provided on the other end of that is exactly what you needed, right? And I saw a story that I found was truly amazing. It was a 12-year-old girl named Chenault. She went to Cyrus. And you talked about how, you always want to be on TV and you want to be a part of the parade. She actually won the honor of going to perform at the Thanksgiving parade in Philadelphia, right? So, but what she said during this was that she said that because she originally wasn't there because she started off doing ballet somewhere else. Then she started doing tennis. But then she stopped doing that and then she joined your dance studio. And she said that the people there are really nice and down to earth and it makes me like it even more, right? This person went on and you coached her for 5 years and you made her dream come true. She was featured in the Dayton Daily newspaper. And then she came back to work as a coach.
Yes.
In 2017, it's a elementary junior coach to be exact. She was honor society when it came to math. She was vice president in Stivers. She graduated 10th percentile of academics at that school, which everybody knows Stivers has the most toughest, like curriculum. And she's following your footsteps right now because she wanted to become a teacher as well. Do you see how what you went through, and you say it with so much passion and love that you literally set that same thing up for somebody else? It's truly nice. Amazing.
And she's also president of her dance program right now at Miami University. She's a beast. Yeah. But most of my girls are.
You're a beast. You're amazing. You're a legend. Just that right there says it. We just literally said everything you've done to help her. You was like, she's so amazing. And I'm just little old me. I cannot believe it.
I miss Donna.
That's crazy.
But it's all part of the same thing. I'm telling you, I am running an experiment here.
Yes.
Legendary people. Bro. I am picking up so many statistics and data on people with the same characteristics because we bring people in here based on accolades, notoriety, and great things that they've done to me or to Peanut. Right? And all of the greatness, all of the genius, all of the best people who come on here, they do. Normally, they deflect. They shoo away the accolades and the compliments and stuff because it's almost uncomfortable to them. You know why? It's because you're still on your journey. And you know that you really got a lot more things to accomplish and more things to do. And you feel like you probably could have done so much more. But from the outside looking in, to us, you are a genius at what you do. And it's amazing how the Most High delivers your talent right there to your doorstep. Because you could have showed swimming. You could have done something else, but for whatever reason, the Most High, He give it to you. And then how you handle this giving is what makes you into the legend that you are. Like, you told us you wasn't cool.
Definitely not.
But I think me and you, we compliment each other a lot of times. And you always make me feel good as far as just telling me you're proud of me for whatever it might be. And I always tell you how you've helped me, and I always call Nona the best coach ever.
Which he totally is the best coach ever. That's so funny.
And I really feel like that. And her stats
speak for
back it up.
Yeah.
You got to throw away trophies so people won't bump into them in your place. And this is literal. I've been there.
Yeah, you've been there.
It's trophies everywhere.
So many trophies is dangerous.
That's
a bar.
So this is Matriarch Monday. And this is the first Matriarch Monday.
Wow.
And you are the very first queen to come on Matriarch Monday, and it's very fitting because of who you are, your humbleness, man, your greatness, your genius, man. I mean, I could go on and on, you know what I mean? But it's uncomfortable for people to keep I'm a genius, so I'll stop.
So I'll ask you something that's kind of fun.
Okay.
What was your favorite costume and routine that y'all put together? I'll name a couple of some of my favorites.
Okay.
I love the Oompa Loompa one.
Oompa Loompas. Oh, yeah.
The
we were
makeup
committed.
was amazing.
Exactly.
The hair, everything. It looked just like them.
I love Oompa Loompas. And when I say the commitment level to sell that, to, make everybody's face orange and all of that, we were committed. We were committed with the Oompa Loompas, and they were committed. And I think that was their first Palm Championship, too. Yeah. Either Ghostbusters or the Oompa Loompas. That was a fun show. I
like the Ghostbusters one as well, and I like the pandas. With the
hip hop pandas.
Which they won when they were the
Yes, they did.
Another thing that I saw is y'all do the year review at the end.
Yes.
That is amazing. So, is that a normal thing that
It is. What I find is a lot of your typical studios, traditional studios, they do a recital at the end of the year, and that is, it's typically a fundraiser. So I kind of wanted to do something like that, but not focus on that part. For us, we're a competition studio, so we travel all the time to compete. And lots of times, your grandma, the lady that babysat you, your dentist, the usher board who slides you a little bit of money when you get all A's, all those people, they can't come to see you compete. They have no idea what you really do, but they know you dance or they heard you got a competition. So I wanted to develop a day where our community could come and see us, so that the people that hear about us but don't really get to see us, or the people that want to come support us but can't, can come together under one roof and see us. And in one of my biggest speeches to the girls, I always say, as we're getting, now you could have just won grand champions or national championships or a gold medal, but when it comes time to come to your review, it's important that you give them the same kind of hoopla, the same kind of energy that you gave to try to get that trophy and that medal, because these are your real supporters. This is mom, dad, grandma, the babysitter. These are these people, and they deserve the best of you too. Not just when you're trying to be out getting the gold, but when you're at home trying to get that support. So they will continue to support you. So the review, the annual review, it is a huge tradition with us. It's an honor. Our dads compete, our dads perform at it. Our moms compete against the dads. The whole family's involved. The Rosebuds are invited to come apart. The young ladies that don't compete and just come and take dance, they're invited. And so it is just a come together community and all of that. So we weren't able to have one COVID year, and so last year, this past summer, we were able to have one. It was completely packed in the gym. We were so honored to see everybody back. It was an amazing feeling.
Wow. So during my research, I found something that was kind of funny. So when I had Googled you literally, and I went to find stuff, the very first thing that popped up was you winning 3 bags of coffee.
At Third Perk.
Third Perk. Shout out to Juanita.
Shout out to my favorite barista. Yeah. Yes, Juanita.
Amazing work.
She does. I don't even know how I won that.
You won 3 bags.
And the funny thing about that is, I don't drink coffee.
Wow.
I don't drink coffee. So it's so funny. And then somebody was commenting, well, I'll take her. Nuh-uh. If Juanita gave it to me, it's mine. I got that Dunbar bag of coffee. I got all her special coffee at my house. So that if guests come and they need coffee, I'm serving the best.
Right.
From Third Perk. Yes, I am.
So I'll ask you another question. Who is Penelope Adeline?
Who is Penelope Adeline?
Is that your nickname or something?
No, Penelope is, I don't have any children. Okay. And I've always said if I had a daughter, I want her name to be Penelope.
Wow.
So I get a lot of flack about that name. And I love the name Penelope, and I'm not straying from it. And so, yeah, that's who Penelope is. She's my imaginary kid.
That's super dope. I'm trying to think of something else. I mean,
you've done really great
you.
In research. I'm like, wow, you Googled me. That's kind of intense. I'm Googleable. Yes, I like that.
You are Googleable.
That's cool.
Super dope.
Glad.
So, your studio is on Chenault Springs.
Yes, 2536 Chenault Springs, right there in the heart of Trotwood, and right on the corner, right before you get to what used to be Target. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we're right there on the corner in the plaza.
So, how can they contact you? Because Facebook was down today.
I heard Facebook was down today. We are actually on Facebook, Chenault Dancers. We are on Instagram, Chenault Dancers, and we have a website, ChenaultDancers.com. Mm-hmm. You can contact us on any of those. Mm-hmm. We are always accepting students. We are a year-long program, so we have training in the off-season, dance camps. Now we are starting competitive training, so we have open classes for dancers who are not competitive and for dancers who are competitive. So we welcome all new students.
That's super dope. So what's next for you and the dance team?
Ooh, next for us. Next for us is growing in the maturity and the level of excellence that we have set in the years before us, making sure we're keeping the continuity of excellence, making sure that any young lady that walks through that door feels excellence and lives in her personal excellence. And we help nurture that, all of us, because it takes a village. So making sure we're growing. Coming off of a year like we were blessed to have last season, we have a lot to prove, a lot of more hard work to do. We compete in the genres of pom, jazz, hip hop, lyrical, contemporary. We have officers that represent us in officer competitions in the leadership realm, and we train soloists as well.
Oh, and that's also something that I want to, I almost forgot to even bring it up, was because like you had spoke about how, like kids will work all year long and then they'll get one trophy. It's one thing I did see that you are doing is, like you'll post a picture with the kids that win their positions and stuff like that. To me, I think that gives them a sense of pride.
Absolutely.
Like that. So to me, I mean, you're doing amazing work. I mean,
Thank
you
you.
do it with the offhand ease. You know what I mean? To me, it's super amazing. I don't know what Smed is doing because he needs to get to our bills, but so I'll do my attempt to paying the bills for 1 second. So if you guys are into breakfast, which we all are, right? You go down to Sheik's Lounge. They have the best breakfast in the world. I just took the BMM, the Black Man's Man Cave. We went down there. They're actually interviewing me, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. I'm going to do a podcast about investing. And I took them down there. They had an amazing time. And, like they're from Cincinnati, so they had about to break out their neck, all the girls in there. They in there going crazy. Where all these girls at? So if you ever are looking for food, breakfast, or girls, go ahead and go to Sheik's. If you were looking for lunch, then you can also head down to Agnes, All Natural Grill. They have amazing cuisine down there. And if you are ever injured in an accident, please make sure you contact the proper authorities and you go to the emergency room and then you contact Michael Wright. Make the right choice. And shout out to Kiara Wine. Smed! It's his... Smedro. I did the ad, bro. I know you've been working. Look, businessman always working, man. So Smed, I already did the ad. So anything else you want to ask me?
God, man, I am caught up in a whirlwind of work. Can you believe it?
Yes, I can't believe it.
I'm the definition of what you call multitasker. And that's exactly what I've been doing. Working here, working there. Peanut, do you ever do the ads again? Listen.
My ads was terrible.
She's got the best breakfast you ever. And I do mean ever.
Ever.
Want to put your daughter in dancing.
There we go.
And this brother did not say.
My bad, I'm slipping.
If you ever want to put your daughter in dancing, let me put this camera on Miss Noma.
There we go.
You want her to be around positive,
Yes.
queenly, dignified on the player side every day of her life.
Yes.
Let's sign her up at Chenault Dancers, man.
Amen.
All the way together.
There we go, sis.
All the way
Did I
together.
redeem myself?
You redeemed yourself,
Did I
sis.
come in? I thought quick. I'm quick on my feet.
For sure, for sure.
Guys, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Ring the bell notification. Come and holler at us at T-Shirt Kings. Gold for your mouth. We got a new commercial dropping on the NBA opening game. So that's what I was up there doing, just finishing up our commercial, trying to get it right so we can get it submitted to Spectrum.
Amazing.
And it's a big deal, man. It's gonna be real sweet. I think the whole city is gonna really love it, man. We really did some major stuff. So, man, you guys make sure that y'all tune in with everything we're doing. To the Queen, it's time to take us up out of here. Give us some positive words of encouragement. Come on, you got the flow.
Well, I just want to say, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for acknowledging the program. We've been around for 27 years, but a lot of people still don't even know us. So we always encourage the opportunity to meet the next Chenault dancer, to meet the person who's going to take us into the next realm or record-breaking moment, that type of thing. Shout out to, just being a part of our community and how important it is for us to grow up, glow up, and give back. I think that is very important. It's important for us to get to know other people, other organizations. One of the biggest things that we teach is team bonding. We have different teams from all over that we are friends with, and learn to love their differences and to support one another, because there's never enough of that. Clearly, you all are supporting us. We're supporting you. We're in good company. So thank you so much.
She's so media trained. I'm telling you, she's good at it.
Hey, all right, y'all. We love everybody, man. Y'all, hey, tomorrow we got El Devon coming on.
Yep.
DJ Y'all might know him as DJ Chaos or El Divine. We got him coming on tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So we got an early edition of the podcast, the Godcast. And tomorrow night we got Robin J. Mobley. She gonna come in and just
God.
Diamond Cut,
Yeah.
manage Chaos.
Legendary.
She's been doing her own radio thing, so we're gonna be jam packed tomorrow, 1 o'clock and at 8 p.m. So tune in, tap in, and get